Good evening everyone. Today in this video we will fight against the advanced character of our world around us, and the main topic of this discussion will be modern Canada, and actually poor modern Canadians who are ruled by I would say classical representative of the most classical version of neo-Marxist, who is ruled by completely spoiled and greed-driven managers and rulers of big companies like Big Pharma or different international companies like Google, Facebook, and so on. So this pharma internet puppet called Justin Trudeau, actually I should say Justin Trudeau Castro, because Pierre Trudeau, his nominal father, actually was, I don't know why, he was very popular among Canadians, and that's why his alleged son, nominally son, biologically most likely not, Justin Trudeau, is capitalizing on the surname of his father, who died over 20 years ago and was a prime minister of Canada in 70s and 80s. And then he was very popular because those days Canada was still quite I wouldn't say opulent, but not so poor country that was offering quite comfortable conditions of living for its people and newcomers. But unfortunately, in most cases, Pierre Trudeau popularity was based on the politics, on the introduction of welfare state politics based on redistribution of wealth, like it happened in Poland in 1970s during the dictatorship of Edward Gierek, when there was also temporary improvement of material conditions of living for population thanks to the foreign loans, and that resulted in huge debts in the international finances. And similar things, I guess, happen in Canada in terms of development of social welfare programs that made Mr. Trudeau in the hearts of many Canadians so popular, and that's why his nominal son could later capitalize his political career, what he's doing now. Since the half of 2010s, he is capitalizing his political career on the surname of his famous father. But this fame was not deserved in case of Pierre Trudeau as well. But his son, Justin Trudeau Castro, because he of course also behaves as his biological father now. We see how he cracked the protest of truckers, how he's trying to crack other protesters, how he divides Canadian society along race, gender, language, whatever, because Canada is multi-ethnic and multiracial society, which is not a problem. History already teaches us that even the most diverse society can be united by a strong feeling of patriotism and national identity. But in case of Canada, nowadays it will not happen, because neo-Marxist politics of Justin Trudeau and neo-Marxist politics of in general, they are based on the social divisions artificially induced, and Canadians are, thanks to Mr. Trudeau Castro, they are made poorer, they are made more divided, and they are made more suppressed. They are actually suffering now in the shackles of neo-Marxist ideology and shackles of greedy companies. Now, for the last 2 years, there is a turn of Big Pharma to cash in on poor Canadians and their wealth, their health, and everything. And one should ask a question: why did it happen that Canadians only now started to resist? Not so strongly, but slowly. They started to resist in a quite I would say, shy away the brutal regime of Justin Trudeau Castro. My explanation is quite simple because, as far as I know, for the last decades, Canadians were able to they they enjoyed such illusory luxury that they could trust more or less their governments, no matter if it was more conservative or more socialistic governments, they could have trusted them. That's why they never developed such skills like thinking out of the box, independent thinking, reading in between lines, in the reading in between lines, when one is taking into account this what politicians are saying, that there is always a hidden meaning in every speech politicians are giving to the people, and this naivety now turned out to be very costly for Canadians because they woke up in neo-Marxist Bolshevik state that their situation is really, there is nothing to be jealous about because neo-Marxist elite of the country that it's financed by big corporations is simply drinking their blood and poisoning their blood with some specifics that are presented to be medicines, but what it is we don't know. But for sure it doesn't work as it was supposed to work. So nothing good is happening to them. Protests that are slowly occurring on the streets are brutally suppressed. So Canadians are making their brutal lesson of history. They are paying for many decades of intellectual comfort that they didn't have to watch the hands of their politicians. And what should I say? I wish them patience, I wish them persistence, I wish them strength, I wish them unity, real national unity, that will be needed in combating the non-honest and really vicious neo-Marxist government supported by some of the big companies that really likes to enjoy monopolies and privilege of being friends of power, and just simply later enjoy the privilege of being managers for few years of such corporation, because owners are in most cases nowadays disconnected from corporations, and these corporations are ruled by managers who have only few years of term, and later they after finishing the term they want to just take their share and get out of all of this mess they made, because their only purpose was to maximize at any costs the revenue of the company. That's why we have what we have. So all the best to Canadians, strength, unity and persistence. And I hope they will survive as people and they will survive as nation. Take care, all the best.